Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And this one is going to make you look at the world a little differently.
Oh, wow. Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, so we're diving into the story of Hester Stanhope, but not the famous adventurer you might be thinking of, the archaeologist.
Oh, right.
This Hester comes to us from a short story called La Loca. It's Spanish for the crazy woman.
Interesting. The crazy woman. So where does this Hester fit in? How is she different?
Well, at first glance, the story presents her in a very different light. It's like we're looking at her through a kind of distorted lens before we get the full picture.
I like that. A distorted lens. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So in La Loca, we're dropped right into Hester's daily life. And honestly, on the surface, it seems pretty simple, almost mundane even.
Right. Can you give us a sense of what her life is like?
Yeah, totally. So picture this. Hester surrounded by her cats.
Okay, a cat lady.
She wears this same red coat and black hat every single day. And she spends her time wandering around town telling these wild stories.
I'm sensing a but coming.
Oh yeah, there's a but for sure. Because most people just dismiss her stories as the ramblings of a lunatic.
Oh, so she's seen as a bit of an eccentric character then.
Definitely. And the townspeople don't hold back on their judgments either. The story really highlights how cruel their gossip and judgments can be. It's like they've all decided she's just the crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
And they treat her accordingly with this mix of disdain and amusement.
It's like they've already labeled her and won't see past that.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how easily we judge people based on how they look and act. Especially when they don't fit into, what's considered normal by society.
Right. We make these snap judgments without really knowing the person.
And the story gives us glimpses of this judgment everywhere. Shopkeepers rolling their eyes, parents warning their kids to stay away, even those wealthy socialites gossiping about her, and using her for their own entertainment.
Oh, wow, that's rough.
It is, but here's the interesting thing. Despite all this negativity, Hester seems genuinely happy. Yeah, she finds joy in her simple routines for cats, and especially in her storytelling.
It's like she's found a way to create her own world, a world where those judgments don't matter.
Exactly, and those stories are so important because they offer us a glimpse into that world.
I'm really curious about these stories now.
Me too. They're not your everyday tales, that's for sure.
So what kind of stories are we talking about here?
We've got everything from pirate treasure maps to lost cities near Jerusalem.
Wow, that sounds adventurous.
Oh, there's even a love story.
Oh!
Yeah, a whirlwind romance with an Egyptian prince.
That's quite a range.
Right. It's like she's channeling Indiana Jones with a touch of romance novel heroine.
Haha. I love that description. And how do the townspeople react to these stories? I mean, they're obviously skeptical, right?
Oh, totally. They dismiss them as pure fabrication.
Right.
But even as they're shaking their heads and calling her crazy, there's this sense that they're still captivated.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like that human need for something extraordinary, even if we try to deny it.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't
Yeah.
it? We want to hear the fantastical, but then we reject those who seem to embody it.
Exactly. It makes you wonder about those stories. Are they just elaborate fantasies, or could there be some truth hidden within them?
Right. And what do they reveal about Hester herself, this woman who's so easily dismissed by her community?
Yeah, and that's where La Loca takes us on this really thought-provoking journey.
Makes us question our assumptions.
It makes us wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's more to Hester than meets the eye.
And that beneath the surface of the crazy cat lady, there's a woman who's lived a truly remarkable life.
A life less ordinary.
Exactly.
Let's take that story about the lost city near Jerusalem. It's not just about finding treasure, right? It's about the thrill of the unknown, the challenge of leading an expedition.
Yeah, through dangerous landscapes, no less.
Exactly, and it speaks to this desire for knowledge, for discovery. It's like she's reaching beyond the limitations of her everyday life.
Totally. And then there's the romance with the Egyptian prince. It's so vivid, so full of passion.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that one.
Okay, so we have this whirlwind courtship, a stunning desert palace, a garden overflowing with roses that she planted herself.
Wow, that's pretty.
It really is, and it's almost like she's tapping into these universal desires.
Love, adventure.
Exactly. Those classic themes that we see in stories throughout history.
You're right. There's this timeless quality to all of Hester's tales. Even when they seem outlandish, they speak to something deeper within us.
For sure, but the story that really gets to me is the one about her exploring the Great Pyramid.
Oh yeah, what happens there?
Well, she goes in alone,
Alone, wow.
yet descending into the darkness, facing who knows what dangers.
That takes some serious courage.
Right, it's a level of bravery and resilience that just doesn't fit with that crazy cat lady label.
Not at all. It's almost like each story reveals a different side of her.
Yeah, her ambition, her romanticism, that thirst for adventure.
Qualities that were often denied to women, especially back then.
Absolutely, and it's through her storytelling that she challenges those expectations.
Yeah, she's creating a world where she's not bound by those limitations.
It's almost like a form of rebellion, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. A way to reclaim her own agency and power.
But even as she's doing that, the townspeople remain completely blind to her.
They still see her as a loca.
Oh yeah, they laugh, they gossip.
They just reinforce the label she's trying so hard to break free from.
Exactly, and that leads us to a really pivotal moment in the story.
What happened?
Hester dies,
Oh, wow.
and with her death, the truth is revealed.
What truth?
This woman they'd all dismissed as the crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
She's actually Hester Stanhope, the famous adventurer and archaeologist.
No way. The one who traveled the world defied expectations.
The one and only.
That's incredible. It's like that distorted lens finally clears, and we see her for who she truly was all along.
But it's bittersweet, right? Because it's too late for them to change how they treated her.
It really makes you think about the consequences of our judgments.
It does. The story talks about this wave of shock and regret that washes over the community.
Like they've been jolted awake, realizing they completely missed the extraordinary person right in front of them.
They were mourning the loss of a legend they never even knew they had.
It's a powerful reminder that our perceptions can be so easily skewed.
By prejudice, by preconceived notions.
We can miss so much just because it doesn't fit into our narrow view of the world.
Makes you wonder how often we do that in our own lives, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Just miss someone's story, their dreams, just because they don't fit into our idea of how things should be.
It's so easy to get caught up in our own expectations. And that's what makes La Loca so powerful. It's not just about this one woman, it's about all of us. And that human tendency to judge, to categorize.
To miss the extraordinary, even when it's right there.
Exactly. But we've been talking about the fictional Hester, the one who lived this simple life surrounded by her cats and her stories.
Right, but what about the real Hester Stanhope, the historical figure?
Ah, yes, the woman who inspired this whole tale.
Is there anything we can learn from her life? You know, something that might shed light on the story's themes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the real Hester Stanhope was a total trailblazer.
In what way?
Well, she defied all these societal expectations, traveled throughout the Middle East in the early 1800s.
Wow, that's pretty bold for a woman back then.
It was. She lived among Bedouin tribes, explored ancient ruins. She even became a political advisor to local rulers.
Talk about a life less ordinary.
Right. It's no wonder her adventures captured people's imaginations.
And it's interesting how her real-life experiences kind of mirror the themes in La Loca.
You know, that thirst for adventure, rejecting societal norms, that courage to forge her own path.
Yeah, those qualities resonate in both versions of Hester.
Exactly. And what I find really fascinating is that the story seems to draw this connection between that outward eccentricity, the thing that got her labeled La Loca, and that inner fire that fueled her real-life exploration.
So it's suggesting that what some might see as madness could actually be a sign of something remarkable.
A unique perspective, a different way of experiencing the world.
It's like the story's asking us to reconsider our own definitions of normal and extraordinary.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive into La Loca, what are we left with? What can we take away from all this?
I think it's a powerful reminder to, first and foremost, challenge our assumptions.
Yeah.
To look beyond those surface appearances.
Yeah, to really listen with an open mind to the stories people share, even when they seem strange or unbelievable.
Because the extraordinary can show up in the most unexpected ways.
Right, and true adventure. It's not always about grand gestures. It's about that quiet courage to be yourself.
To embrace your passions, to create a world that reflects your inner life, even if that world doesn't quite fit in with what's expected.
Beautifully said. La Loca is a call for empathy, for curiosity.
For the deeper understanding of the human experience in all its messiness and beauty.
And maybe, just maybe, it's a reminder that the most remarkable stories are the ones we haven't learned to listen to yet.
I love that. And on that note, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into La Loca. It's been a truly thought-provoking journey.